This is Marketing of Today. I'm Cesar. Let's go! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing of Today podcast. It is 2 a.m. of Friday. This podcast was recorded a little late. I was supposed to have a guest this weekend. We're coming back with some guests. We're going to start talking more about that. And, you know, it's a great experience. It's a humbling experience to have people join me in the podcast and so much people interested in it. The scheduling has been a little challenging since we're working on a lot of things. I'm trying to get everything where it doesn't take too much time. Right now, I'm still filming in my house. This setup right here, this is my house. This is where I live. I set up, I'm show you, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw the story. I do this setup real quick in the house while I'm here. Lately, I've been spending more time here than the office because it's family. I've been wanting to take the vibe of my son more. So it's a cool experience and it's something like, I'm constantly working on. So something I want to talk to you guys about is marketing. Yes, marketing. It's the Marketing of Today podcast, of course. But part of the reason I want to talk to you guys about this subject is because I feel like a lot of people are afraid of spending some marketing dollars. And I get it. It's your business. You're starting. It's a big investment to see the return. Sometimes it may take 1 or 2 months, but it is so vital. It is so important to document and tell people what you do, what you offer, how you can provide the best value and the best service, that if you don't use it to your full advantage, your business is not going to grow. So that was the selling point of marketing. But now let me tell you my story. I started doing marketing since 2015. But prior to that, I wanted to be an artist. There are no songs on Apple Music, so don't search for them. You're not going to find them. Plus, my name was Lanti El Poematico. Yeah, not my brightest of names, but, things that creative mindset bring you to when you are growing up. So Lanti El Poematico was recording music in his closet or in the bathroom with, some of you guys know what I'm talking about, with a cloth on the bathtub covering over with another cloth. It's, if you would have been there, you would be laughing. It was hilarious. But I actually made some guys' songs, and I actually worked with other people and produced music. Not so much for myself because my thing sucked, but I was able to produce music for some people, and that was awesome. Hey, I'm the producer, Cesar. And that's part of how I know how to edit video and how to work with this. But back to the producer story, I said I can produce myself an album. So I started writing music myself, poetic songs. I'm not going to lie. Some of them were okay. The problem was my voice. I'm not an artist. I'm not a singing person. I know how to tune. I get it. I know about music. I know about sounds. Yes, cool. But sometimes when you put that on a track and try to make everything sound nice, it didn't. So after that, I was like, okay, so I know about video editing. I know about engaging. I know what calls people attention because, you have to learn those sort of things also in the music side. And I was using MySpace from the beginning. Then I jumped into Facebook. I gained a big following on Facebook. Not because of my music, but because I was very poetic and very quote, right? A person that puts a lot of quotes, positive, etc. So I was able to gain some followers that way. From there, we jumped into Instagram. And on Instagram at the beginning, me and my family tried to stay off social media for a while. At that time, I was very undecisive because I didn't have a business, so I didn't need social media for my business. And then it was just a personal thing. So I had all social media platforms, but I was just there to see what other people were doing, not so much as to document my life and post everything. In hindsight, I would have been documenting for a long time, and today it would be part of the story, and I could show you a lot of those videos. But, when I started using all of my platforms, that I started okay, I can do something with this, right? I started seeing that people were gaining following, people were getting famous. And then I was like, okay, let's do this. And I built a page from, I think I had 1,000 followers to 12,000 followers in 8 months. At that time, that was realistic. That's real. At this time, it's not so much. It's not so realistic unless you buy some fake followers. But different story, different day. I started building my platform, and from building that platform, I started getting people's attention, and people were following, people were actually commenting, engaging, and it was pretty cool. And it was interesting to learn that process, because I usually learn by practicing. I learn by taking action. That's how I work, and my skills develop. That's the way my best of abilities, as I've always been. I have to learn by practice, right? So from that moment, we started continuing to pick up on these cues from different people and different things that we were seeing. So we built the page. Then I decided to start managing some business pages, which I did. And I was able to generate money to a cell phone store, a lot of money, because the guy was constantly calling me to update, change, add, be more on point, show him the video, explain to him how to create content, which I did for a very long time. That's how I started this business in the video world, because I noticed that it was more important for you to create the content than so much for you to just manage it, because anybody could do it. Everybody feels like they could do it. So after that, I was like, okay, we have created this rhythm, this storyline. Like, I started understanding how to get engagement, how to build pages. And then I started working with various clients. Till one day I was like, people usually took me for 3 to 4 months, then cut it off. And that was a question. I was like, why do they cut off? Obviously, they continued doing marketing, but what they were doing was they were doing it by themselves. And then I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. So I decided to move to the United States of America. Moved back, right? Because I used to live in Florida. I went to DR, came to New York. And then I was, just doing regular jobs. And then I said, let me build my YouTube page. I want to start creating YouTube content. And then I started learning how to edit. Like, I started getting some skills, started figuring out a lot of things that today I used to do my benefit in creating this content, this type of video, and building this platform. So moving on from that, I understood that content is so important and is so vital to get people's attention quick, that's what I focus on. And I started focusing on that hard. And today, when I make a video, I already know, based on what your goal is, what I need to capture. It's so easy for me to film content today because I understand the end goal and what I need to fulfill that end goal, right? So something that my team wanted me to talk to you guys about today, and I have it right here. So I'm sorry that I'm reading a little bit, but I have to, because it's like a lot of information. But, finishing that story today, we have a video business for 5 years in the state of New Jersey and New York. I even done work in PA, Connecticut, Florida for a little while, different places. That video work that I've been doing all over America, right? I guess it's the inspiration to be able to build other people's businesses and fulfill their goals and generate more income. So something I want to talk about in the Marketing of Today podcast is this quick points. Let's get right into it. Let's go. So know your audience, understand the target marketing, their needs, the conference, create buyer personas. So what I mean by that is, right, when you create a buyer, what my team wants me to talk about and how I explained it to them before is, when you create a buyer persona, is who are you targeting? Who is the person that you want to sell to? Even if you're not selling, you're always selling something. What is it that connects that person with your product, your service, your intention? Even if you're doing an organization, you have an intention, you have a goal. What is that goal, and how do you get there, right? Is it by, the demographics, interest, and pinpoints? There's so much ways to get to that, but you're the person who knows what type of information requires, or not information, but what is the connection between you and them? And that's what you need to target when you create content, when you create even the photos, right? When we talk about content, a lot of people get it confused and talk about videos. Yes, that's one part. But even a photo with a video in the back, which is very popular right now, or even a photo with a lot of information, that's content. And one of the things is you need to make sure that that is connecting and resonating to the people that follow you, right? Because if you're an inspiration page and you're going to talk about negative things, then you lost your target audience because your audience is there for inspiration, not to talk about negative things, right? So know your audience and know what your goal is and what you're achieving. Clear and consistent branding. Well, I just talked about that in this angle right here, right? Be consistent in what you're building. Continue doing what you set yourself out to do. You've been doing that. So consistency, it's the requirement for you to fulfill that goal. Because if you're telling a how can I say this? If you're telling a person today, I sell houses, tomorrow I sell cars, and the next day I work in Publix. That's a South United States supermarket chain. Some of you guys know because you love Miami, but you're essentially telling your audience this is cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. This is crazy. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Essentially, that's exactly what you're doing. But if you want to continue have a consistent marketing, you have to see what's your end goal, what's the finish line like, how you're going to get to that finish line, and how you're going to achieve your goals, right? Essentially that's the brunt of the entire story. So multi-channel approach. Yes, everybody talks about the old media. Everybody talks about the old way of doing certain things, like TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, so on and so forth. But digital marketing is the cheapest at this point. Right now, it's the cheapest marketing there is. And it's actually double the price that it was 2 years ago. So if you expect that it's going to become cheaper within the years, it's bullshit. I'm calling a bull. It's bullshit. It's not going to happen. Marketing is going to become more and more expensive in the digital space because everybody started to join that space and leave all media behind. Although there's some certain push, for things to change, but most likely, if you're competing against Toyota, this is something I was talking about 2 days ago with one of my clients. We were talking about the differences between spending money on Google, on Instagram, and on Facebook, right? So on Facebook, I feel like it's easier. Facebook and Instagram is the same. So I feel like it's easier to connect to the client because you can tell the client, look, this is the goal. We are a company doing such and such in this area. If you need our services, DM us. And then you just spread the word like crazy without targeting anybody specific, so on and so forth. And then, your turn around will probably be 3 to 4, right? But then you target, right? Target becomes more expensive. Now you got to pay $2 for each client to $20, depending on, the cost basis, right? The lead generation. And then the more expensive it becomes, the more leads you get, you're like, it stacks up quick. And, a lead is good as a lead that is closed. It's not a good lead if it's not closed, right? If you're not doing business with that person, then there's no point for that lead. From there, we jump into Google. I have never run one ad on Google. I know how it works. My team knows how it works. We've taken all the courses. We've done everything in our end to have the knowledge from it, because something that you don't know is something that you're basically not using to your advantage. So we know how Google works. But if Juanito, right, Spanish right there, right? Juanito from a block across my business decides to spend $7 because they have a higher marketing budget a year, higher investment, they can spend $7 per click. Not client, but click. You know how much that is if 100 people get in a day? $700. $700. That means if you make $200,000 a year, I got to sit down and do the math. I don't know why I put myself into that. But let's say you make $20 for one client. That means that $7 out of that client goes into marketing. Think about that for a second. Your goal is to make that cheaper and cheaper. And I feel like Facebook and Instagram have a lot of cheaper marketing and more outreach than Google paid ads. Now, if you're a business that is on brick and mortar or have been there for crazy amount of years, you have your SEO on point, and you spend $2 on that marketing side where you're not number one, but you're number two, number three, number four, that's different. But if you're spending, I know a guy that's spending 100 and something thousand a year. He's making a lot of money. He's making 300,000, but 100,000 is going into marketing. I could do the same with 50. And you can still create content. You still do videos. You get brand awareness. People get to know you. But how can I tell a person that feels like they found the solution to everything in their business, hey, look, you're doing it wrong? So it's good for you to find different strategies, different ways in different outcomes to be able to provide your business more value and a bigger return on your investment. For me, the biggest return on my investment is my time doing this type of videos, doing the content that I put out on social. That is what's generating me more business, because the people that I already know, I'm top of mind. They shoot me a text almost every week, right? We stay in constant contact. Now we're going to start the email marketing campaign, but a different email marketing campaign. Not, hey, how are you doing? I hope you have a good week. No. Hey, look, we talked about, I'm going to give you my play-by-play, right? Podcast, right? So by us doing this podcast, and it's coming out every Sunday, I'm going to shoot out an email on Monday talking about what I said in the podcast. Hey, if you did not have a chance to watch Marketing of Today podcast yesterday, we talked about X, Y, and Z on the podcast. It's full of information about how you should look at marketing, how I looked at marketing from the beginning, and now this is what I believe you should do for 2024. It's a good marketing. It's a good way to engage with the audience instead of saying, I hope you have a good day. Because that's not connecting. That's not creating anything. That's just saying, I send you an email, open it if you want. No. If you want your open rate to continue to grow, you have to provide value. I talk about that every single day on every platform that I work on. Value. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Chinese, whatever you want, you have to provide value. That's the only way you create an audience. That's the only way you build a following. So if you're doing your email marketing, make sure you're providing that value. It's the same thing you do with a video. And there's so much systems right now that make it so easy for you to work on all these platforms at the same time and create a system, which is something that we worked on really digitally. Yes, I said that right. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. But if you're working on it, continue to do that, and make sure that if you're sending an email, you're just not sending an email to send it with value. Another thing that we're doing on the emails, we're sending some free courses. So if you want that, go ahead and shoot me a DM, or, send me an email. I think the email is attached to this channel. Send me an email with your email account saying courses, so I can add you to the list, and you get that automatically. We're making them, and they're free of charge, and they're pretty awesome for you. If you already know the information, is good, but if you don't know the information, it can help you. If you know the information, you can use it to see a different perspective, because I give my 2 cents on how I think things should be viewed, like I'm doing right now. So the next one is analyze and adapt. Adapt your strategy based on the data and feedback. Okay, people. I post these videos not because it's my ego telling me, hey, post these videos. I post these videos because even though if you don't see the likes, they're low. That's normal these days. People don't hit like, people view things. When I look at my insights in the back, I see the amount of time people spend watching my video, which means even though they didn't hit like, they liked the information that I provided. They liked the value that I gave. They liked that I took some time out and explained something to them, regardless of what that was. So for me, it's interesting that I'm providing value to the people. And then once I post 10 videos, I'm like, okay, so let me sit down. Where's my phone? Right here. So let me sit down. Well, as you can see here on this, that, and the third, you can see that this post did better than that post because this post talked about this. And on this minute, everybody clicked out. They stayed in the video. It gives you all the information you need to know to have the perfect flow of a video. It's just you got to sit down and analyze it. You got to look at what you provide, the value you gave, and if the people actually engage with that value. And that's how you're actually successful creating content. So my question to you is, do you look at your insights? It's something I made a presentation in one of the courses about because I felt like it's so important for you to have a successful outcome with your marketing. Do you look at your insights? Are you on top of that? That's how I feel that you will be able to grow and continue consistent growth in your platforms. It is really important for you to learn how to adjust. Yes, there's changes. Yes, there's trends. Yes, all that is there, right? Sometimes I see people spending crazy amounts of time trying to recreate a trend when they could just post a video simpler, more into their connection, more into who they are and what they're trying to achieve than just following a trend. In your business, some things are not sexy. Some things are not eye-grabbing. And sometimes I feel people are just feeding their ego. And it's not your ego that you need to fill. It's the person that is watching's egos or what they like, Because if they're not liking the content that you're creating, then how are you making meaningful connections? That's the only way you'll be able to build your business. How are you connecting to the client? That's the successful ones, right? People who sit down and analyze their data, analyze their insights, stay behind, stay and look at. They don't need the trends. They don't need that because what happens is you start being better at your craft. You start creating the engagement that you need. You start finding what is the connection between you and the viewer? And that's how you start getting viral. That's how your videos reach a broader audience. If you notice, a lot of videos that you see on your platform, some of them are not really viral material. They're not really trends. Most of the times, they're videos that someone made, people resonated with, engaged, he liked, commented, watched for more than 40%, 50 to 60% of the video, and then it starts suggesting. I always explain this, but I love to explain it again. When you post a video, there's a bracket, right? That's why you see some people tag 15, 20 people. It's so vital, right? For some people, they use that way, right? But it's a bracket. If I send it to the first 100 people, how many of them created an engagement? I don't know if you've ever seen the video starts getting a lot of views, and then drops off. The reason why a video drops off after that is because they didn't create any connections. They didn't create any engagement. I'm having a problem with one of my pages. My personal page was I put a video that was in Spanish. It was a Brooklyn Bridge video. It's actually pinned to my account if you want to go see it. I got 650 or 700,000 views. You'll be like, wow, that's amazing. It actually hurt me more than it helped me. Because now the following basis that I gained from that video, because it was a Spanish video, my current following on that page is Spanish speaking mostly and are not people who engage with this type of content. So it's actually hurting me on that page because when Instagram opens the bracket, not enough people hit likes, comment, or share the videos. So what happens is then the next bracket doesn't open. And that hurts you. So if you look at my total social page, I'll get more engagement than on my personal page because bigger audience on my personal page is Spanish speaking versus in my total social is English speaking. So focus on constantly adjusting and figuring out new ways to get to your goal. Whatever that goal is, whatever you're trying to achieve, get to that goal. figure out the way that that works for you. Figure out how to look at your insights. Stay on top of your numbers. Stay on top of what you feel connects and resonates with your clients. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you understand what I'm saying. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I took like 25 minutes in this video, but I needed to explain this. My team said we're getting engagement on that subject. So see, we took some feedback. We look at it. We're working on it. We're providing more value, more information, more storytelling. So make sure that you're focusing on all of this, even if it's through pictures with letters. You have to focus on being engaging and actually capturing people's attention. So thank you very much for watching the Marketing of Today podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. That's the only way we know that you're appreciating this content that we're making. And thank you so much for being part of the family. See you later.